It's Thursday, April 9th, 2026. Incredible news today on geopolitics and socioeconomics. The Straits of Hormuz, Iran. What's going on with the world politics today, people? It's amazing. So going over a quick video today. Incredible news. Let's take a look at the news that's being reported on bar chart first. Okay, so I know you can hear the mouse clicking, right? So check this out. S&P's up fractionally. Crude oil's pumping again. Crude oil up 8%. The Straits of Hormuz and the ceasefire. The VIX is off about 2%. Gold bullion pumping again at 4,789 spot 80. So here's the news. Stocks slide on skepticism over the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. The U.S. economy grew sluggish at 0.5% in the fourth quarter. Government says downgrading previous estimate. This is the Associated Press is reporting. Oil prices rise towards $100 plus as stocks slow on doubt about the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. So yesterday, history had a huge pump. U.S. filings for jobless aid jumped to 219,000 last week, but remained within stable range of the past few years. Kevin O'Leary says that if Elon Musk pitched Tesla on Shark Tank, he would have passed on it. You're crazy. That's what is being said. Okay, got a news here. It's updating dynamically. Magnificent Seven stocks, 2-week ceasefire. NVIDIA is top-rated stock to buy now. So the AI, the artificial intelligence trade is still back on. Food is the only crisis postponed, not canceled amid the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. Going to run a little longer today. Got a lot to go over. A $21 billion AI deal with Meta Platforms sounds huge, but is CoreWeave stock a buy? So there's news on AI, artificial intelligence. Super Microcomputer is auditing China allegations itself. SMCI. Let's go over the stock market real quick. Now stay with me to the end. I give you free alpha and I go over my trading plan. Not financial advice, I gotta say that. I used to be a financial advisor years ago, but what I do is I just give myself financial advice and then I take my own financial advice. S&P minis up 15 points and NASDAQ minis up 52 points. The Dow Jones futures are up 55. The VIX at 21.60. The Dixie showing weakness, at 98.605. The 10-year, got to watch a yield on that at 111-075. Crude oil clears $100 a barrel. That's my Bluetooth speaker there. All right. Crude oil up $5. It's like above $100. Nat gas at 2.671. Gold bullion again at 48.15, up about $40. Silver bullion hanging in there at 75.840. I like to see in a perfect world silver bullion dippy dip back down to $75, actually $55, and then dip below its old resistance, and then retest between $27 and $35 an ounce, and then I would begin to back the truck up in that. So we shall see. Haven't sold my entire bags of silver, but when they silver bullion pumped 3 months ago, I sold about 80% of my bags. So, and then, my goodness, so look at the active stocks. I go over that real quick. Tesla, NVIDIA, Micron Technologies, SanDisk is up 5%. Palantir's off about 7%. Meta, Facebook, up 3%. Amazon is active. Intel clears $60 a share. Microsoft, Mr. Softy, off about 2%. So this is what we have. And the chart of the day is Sienna, stock symbol CIEN. It's up 814% in the last year. Sienna. So that's what's being reported on bar chart. So now, I'm going to run a little longer today because I got a lot of news to go over. And so let's take a look at what's going on here we got breaking news on CNN. All right, it's refreshing here. A deal or a mirage? NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte delivers remarks. So is the U.S. going to ditch NATO? My goodness, people. Also, too, Iran ceasefire collides with chaos on the ground. Trump's sudden ceasefire declaration has triggered immediate relief across financial markets, but has fueled confusion over what was agreed upon. The U.S. military remain in place, it says here, until full agreement is reached with Iran. This is what Trump says. Is this the build-up to World War III? Iran is holding the world economy hostage. This is a quote. Trump's truce proves its leverage. All right, so Iran's territory, they own the Straits of Hormuz apparently, and can shut it down or close it. The right celebrated the ceasefire, the conservatives. Some seem to fear what could be next. This is being reported on CNN. And Chinese state media mocks the U.S. for war in Iran. So we got to watch this. My goodness. Trump could soon lose his best friend in Europe. News, Europe and the European Union. The first predictions for hurricane season are in, and El Nino's fingerprints are all over it. So it's a reason that I use my weather app that I own, that I coded. It's agentic AI meets meteorology, called weathermist.com. So check out the links below on weathermist.com. Hurricane season, get ready for floods and tornadoes and Category 5 hurricanes and tsunamis and locusts and anything related, dust storms. My goodness. So this is being reported on CNN. So, and I go over this real briefly too. Stay with me to the end. My Weather Mist app is doing great. 66 degrees here in northern Florida where I'm at. It says no AI alerts, no active weather, clear skies, but it says to stay hydrated as temperatures are mild but can feel warmer in the sun. So that's, man. All right, so let's, and I know, my videos are unedited, but this is what we have, folks. So I look at Iranian news too, IranInternational.com, just to get different perspective. Trump signals force if deal fails as Iran says Hormuz, the Straits of Hormuz is closed. Iran ties talks to Lebanon, rejects ceasefire without U.S. acceptance of terms. So it's on again, off again. My goodness. So Israel and China and Russia and the Crimea Peninsula, food concerns with food security is a big deal. 25% of the world's fertilizer and ammonia travels through the Straits of Hormuz for the industrial food supply. So countries like I was saying yesterday, regions like, my goodness, reading this news here, Egypt and then parts of India too, they import all of their food. So this is what's being reported. So let's look at Yahoo Finance real quick. Stay with me to the end. I give you free alpha, which is my trading plan. All right. Fed's preferred inflation print stayed hot in February. PCE inflation rose 2.8%. There's been reports of like 50% increase in the price of raw vegetables. before the outbreak of war, suggesting the Fed will keep interest rates steady. So everyone's concerned about interest rates. It says U.S. stocks fall as Iran truce looks shady or shaky. PCE stays hot. Amazon could sell AI chips, raising stakes for NVIDIA and advanced micro devices. My goodness. Oil prices surge as U.S.-Iran ceasefire looks increasingly tenacious. It says here also, too, Trump, 50% tariff on any country supplying weapons to Iran. So, my goodness, people, oh man. Peace in the Middle East. Home sales are up and down so far in the housing market's busiest season. So I read the news headlines to myself and formulate a trading plan so I can survive. And there's a lot to complain about today, obviously, but I actually work on doing full-time research for myself, and then I publish my ebooks online, and so I do affiliate marketing for my ebooks with my research. So you can check out my recent ebook that I published on Amazon Kindle titled The 100 Most Popular Vacation Locations on the Planet, the Ultimate List. So check it out. 100 most popular vacations. Got the summer vacation and summer travel and driving season. Of course, fuel prices are way up too, so a lot of people will be driving and not purchasing airline tickets because of the increase in fuel cost. Check out the links below. So, yeah, it's on Amazon Kindle. Look at this news. Meta and CoreWeave agree to a $21 billion deal. Investors are looking at the wrong tech stocks, it says here. So this is the news. Gen Z is driving IRA contributions to record highs. U.S. Iran prepare for talks with Lebanon conflict unresolved. So, my goodness. Iran, India central bank mulls delay for some digital payments to curb fraud. Inflation stayed stubborn. Hyperinflation, people. Food, shelter, clothing, transportation costs, healthcare costs are outrageous. It says OpenAI pauses UK data center project over regulation. And also NVIDIA. NVIDIA shares near levels where technical traders see a breakout. NVIDIA stock is never too high to buy and never too low to sell because the trend is your friend. Oil rises back again above. I read the news headlines, Oil rises above 100 after big drop as Hormuz stayed blocked. So they've closed the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's ceasefire is fragile, what it means for oil and gas prices. So this is what we have, folks. I don't make the news. I'm just the messenger. Top gainers, AXT Inc. up 17%. York Space Systems active. Bloom Energy up big. Firefly Aerospace very actively traded. Let's see top losers. Texas Pacific dips 14%. And of course, the most actively traded stocks, Whole Logic is very active. Intel's back in play again. Intel clears $60 a share. Nokia, very active. Palantir, very active, off about 7%. And NVIDIA is pumping again on the AI computer chips. So, building out data centers for big data, and companies like Meta and Facebook and Apple Computers building data centers, and so is Google's awesome. And want to welcome all of my viewers. I'm pushing my videos out on Twitter, on X, so I want to welcome all of you. So this is the news. Let's see, Fox News. Fox News is reporting ICE unveils first-year results of revived victim support program. ICE and INS and immigration. So this is what we have on Fox News. So now let's look at Bitcoin's pumping. Nice dippy dip on Bitcoin down to 66,000. And then now it's pumping above 72,000 to like 73,000. Exciting times. Bitcoin on the blockchain, Ethereum and XRP and Solana and Zcash was active, and of course Pixel and Dogecoin and Bonk. So more on that in a moment, but Bitcoin's breaking out this morning, had a nice pivot up from about 70,500, so a nice 2,000 point pump. Are we going to have the Straits of Hormuz opened? So I kind of do my own research and looking at the different topics that people are talking about and researching for my channel. All right, so looking at this is very interesting. I'm just kind of reading the narrative. You can see my face is a lot leaner too. All the edema is out of my face. I finished my 2-day water fast yesterday, where all I consume is electrolyte. So I do intermittent fasting, water fasting, plus carnivore. And you're seeing in the last 2 weeks, I don't give medical advice, but you see I'm down like 10 pounds with no dieting. You know, like I do intermittent fasting, so I'm going to break fast today at 2 p.m. And then when I do eat food, it's carnivore only, and meat, ribeye steaks and proper fats, you know, ghee and clarified butter and the like. So incredible. All right, back on the news here. All right, major geopolitical and financial developments involving, you know, President Trump and the world's global financial system, Iran, and cryptocurrency markets. All right, so, you know, there's a lot of the far right, again, is optimistic, declaring the start of what is known as the golden age. All right, the NWO, the New World ORDER. So get a little closer so you can hear me better. Adjust the camera. All right. Announced peace deal. Massive market liquidity is transpiring. Geopolitical developments. Iran peace plan. We got here recently, announced a 2-week ceasefire. A double-sided ceasefire has been declared between the U.S. and Iran, and to finalize a 10-point peace plan. So that's what people are talking about today, and I'm researching. The Strait of Hormuz, a key condition of the agreement is the immediate and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. All of humanity wants and needs the Strait of Hormuz opened. Economic restructure. All right, the plan includes a proposal where Iran earns $2 million toll booth, if you would, ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz for the country's reconstruction effort after the war ends. And diplomacy, there's a breakthrough on President Trump's negotiations, and we got the help of Pakistan help broker the deal, the art of the deal. So this is what's being reported and studied by myself in my own research for my channel. The crypto surge, all right. The news of the peace plan triggered a massive pump in risk assets. Bitcoin, again, approaches 73,000, up from 66,000, with other major coins like Ethereum, XRP, and Solana also seeing significant gains. The stock market, okay, it could rocket up, 10, 20,000 points to a new all-time high. We could see this, you never know. Stock market yesterday's history, but it was up like 1,300 points. So oil tanked yesterday, and now it's back up again. Commodities. I'm not a commodity trading advisor, but Oil prices collapsed yesterday following the news, and gold and silver are expected to continue possibly selling off. So again, I like to see a dippy dip to 55 and then a dip down to 27. Pixelite Nation, it's $ PIXEL. There's Pixelite has been very active, and it's been pumping a new community there on Pixel. I don't own any of Pixel. I do own Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum and Solana. New financial frameworks are being created right now. A shift towards, there's a big to do with real world assets and tokenization, where everything's going, and the quote is on chain. Liquidity and inflation. All right, so there's debate on, is the Fed going to save the day? You can't fight the Fed with FOMC. So you have interest rates possibly going to be cut to create hyper liquidity and more quantitative easing and QT, quantitative tightening. And also too, there's the introduction now of the 50-year mortgage. So people who can't afford a house, to create a 50-year mortgage, next thing you know, it sounds inflammatory, but you could have a 50-year car loan. Showing the Ford F-350, people, you get a 50-year car loan for a Ford truck. And there could be extraordinary wealth and affluence in the Middle East with the reconstruction efforts after the war. Iran, gets $2 million per oil toll booth type of thing. Some are arguing that there's skepticism regarding the ceasefire. So it's kind of wait and see. There's ongoing hostilities. Ceasefire was announced, but military actions appear to be continuing. Kuwait yesterday reported that it shot down 28 Iranian drones, and Israel and Dubai, United Arab Emirates, have faced Iranian missile fire. So it's not over until it's over. There's uncertain control. There's reports of Iranian refineries on Lebanon Island, infrastructure on Siri Island being bombed, possibly by the United Arab Emirates. So is Dubai, the empire fights back type of thing. We shall see. The Strait of Hormuz got safe passage, but there's 800 ships remain trapped right now. Imagine being on those ships right now, oil tankers. And the oil, has a life cycle on the tankers. I don't know, will it sour if it's on the oil tankers at sea too long? Unsure of whether or not there will be safe passage on the Straits of Hormuz process and what have you. And there's also there's a great disconnect right now. All right, it seems like the Dow Jones was up yesterday, was up 1,300 points. The NASDAQ was up like 600 points, while at the same time rockets and missiles are still flying, and war it's not over. So oil and gas prices, it dipped below 100, now it's back up 100 with the volatility as I had predicted yesterday. So prices at the pump, I paid yesterday, filled up my Toyota XLE hybrid and paid $4.21 a gallon for the cheapest fuel to fill up my hybrid vehicle. I have 2 electric bikes that I use that covers 95% of my travel needs, and I recharge it with a solar generator and photovoltaics and solar panels. So it doesn't cost me anything for auto insurance or the like for 95% of my transportation needs. Now, there's a lot of research too going on now with housing. All right, so the war in the Middle East has fueled economic uncertainty, leading to a drop in home buyer mortgage demand. I'm running about 24 minutes, for the first time in over a year. So buyers have gone on strike. And in my neighborhood where I reside here in North Florida, back in 2021, you'd list a house for sale, they'd have 10 premium offers. You know, they'd list it for 100,000 and it would sell for 120,000, and there'd be a bidding war. Now the houses are sitting on the market. Here it is, the springtime, the best selling season, and no one is purchasing the houses, and then they're unlisting them. So it's not happening with the housing market. There's a buyer strike in real estate. So the deals are coming. So the primary goals of the peace plan have not been accomplished. That's some of the narrative. The Iranian military was not obliterated, and the status of Iran's nuclear material remains unknown. So there's just saber rattling over Iran, and boy, oh goodness. So the U.S. appears weaker globally. This is what I'm just reading the news, people, and I'm researching this for myself. Having spent billions of dollars and used hundreds of Tomahawk missiles to have Iran remain standing and potentially dictate the terms of any final peace accord agreement. So we shall see how that plays out. So I'm just doing my research for my channel and looking at this. And oh man, now you got $40 trillion in national debt here in the good old US of A. Some are arguing it's closer to 100 trillion with unfunded liabilities for things like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, and my goodness, and bank insolvency. You know, we could see bank runs soon enough. Currently, we're seeing a bank run on PE, on private equity, companies like Blue Owl, KKR, Blackstone, BlackRock. They are halting redemptions for investors who, you know, it reminds me of the long-term capital management or the buildup just before the next GFC with the housing crisis back in the 2008-09. So I look at I got 10 bags of assets, precious metals, platinum, palladium, gold, silver bullion, some crypto, real estate, cars, etc. So looking at real world assets versus the de-dollarization event. So these are real topics that are transpiring today. So I research such to remain relevant, to make my channel slightly better every day, and also received a donation. You can see the links down below for my Patreon account. So I want to welcome my new Patreon supporters. So there's a lot of instability right now because of geopolitical tensions and rising living costs, hyperinflation. Okay, so a huge economic shift in the summer of 2026. The Iran deal illusion. This is what's being reported, people, and people are researching this, and so I just read the news. There's this market optimism with the Dow Jones up 1%, the crypto pump, but some are arguing that price action yesterday was, and the quote is hopium. People want to believe that the war is over, but we shall see how it plays out. Iran has actually rejected the U.S. ceasefire proposal amid ongoing escalations. So who wins? Again, there's no winners in warfare. And so some are arguing that there's this great human disconnect. People are split 50-50 on which way the markets will go. Interprets that, being interpreted as a sign of a downward move in imminent losses. And then the next conflict, what happens next in the Middle East? Predicting the situation with Iran, the U.S. will pivot possibly in the Middle East. And we got to keep our eye on Japan. Remember the build up to World War II with Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and then Pearl Harbor and the oil conflict? Japan imports much of its oil from the Straits of Hormuz, and they've been building up their military, and also the South China Sea with China. So you got Iran, Russia, China, and North Korea. And so now China, some are arguing that China might commandeer the different islands in the South China Sea and take over Taiwan. So, this is, we got to look at this and research it. So, running about 30 minutes, economic warning signs, rising fuel prices. Fuel prices, the pain at the pump here in the U.S. prices increased 50% in 4 weeks. That's such a big shock to the economy that if the Straits of Hormuz are not opened, it could shut down. I know it sounds inflammatory, but it could shut down the entire industrial production of the G7 and G20 nations. Where's China going to get all of their fuel for the production of all of their industrial products? Fuel $4 to $6 to $7. California, you could see fuel prices $7, $8, $10 a gallon. Man, and every time back in 2007, 2008, when fuel prices pump to a new all-time high, so the prices are $150 per barrel and then $250 a barrel. Those are the key levels. $250 a barrel is adjusted for inflation for 2026. So if we see a breakout above 150, the next leg up for the breakout is 250. And if 250 breaks, we could conservatively see price of fuel go to $500 to $700 a barrel. And what does that happen? What transpires then for trucking industry? So many, and I'm researching this too, many mom and pop trucking companies are struggling with fuel surcharges and driver shortages. People aren't driving, and how that affects the supply chain for food security. Large companies with more pricing power are expected to dominate, companies like Amazon and the like. There could be massive price increases for consumer goods by the middle of the summer. So now's the time to be a prepper and to stock up on food items and to prep for food. Water is important. Water, food, shelter, getting clothes, and then getting your transportation needs. I got my new Bentley hat here, right? I got this when I was at the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show from Hallman Motors. Special thanks to Hallman Motors. Food inflation. I'm just doing my research, folks, and stay with me to the end. I'm going to go over my trading plan. There's already been a 48% increase in the price of frozen vegetables, a trend that could lead to panic by the summer. The crops are going in the ground right now in the northern hemisphere, and then if the Straits of Hormuz down, there's no ammonia and no fertilizer to produce the industrial food production. This fall harvest, we could start seeing pockets of global hunger and famine. So we got to pray for that situation. People who are hungry people are dangerous people. That's a quote, I'm quoting that. Cash and lines of income. So, man, smart to have cash on hand and extra lines of income and having such. My goodness. So the importance of having, I say this every day, I give thanks for my abundant supply now manifested. I have it now. So that's my plan. And so I put together from all of that research a trading plan for myself. So here, let's look at this. Running about 34 minutes too, but I just broke water fast yesterday. You can see I'm getting leaned up. I'm gonna get rid of all this here, and start doing my exercises today and stretching and my Tai Chi walking and my deep breathing, my pranic breathing exercises. So let's see the trading plan. Like and share too, if you would. I'm going to produce this video out on Twitter and X. My channel's getting a lot of traction. SPY's pumping, okay? Bitcoin pumping again. So again, DCA today, here's my plan. I DCA Bitcoin every day. All right, Bitcoin is pumping up. Okay, today up about 2%. So there's a nice pumpity pump on Bitcoin at 72,000. I got all of this price action here in the last 2 weeks. So SPY is pumping, SPY ETF. Again, not financial advice. S&P 500 is pumping. Hyperinflation's back. We could see like a Weimar Republic. The de-dollarization event. SPY. So I DCA it. This is my trading plan. I do my research for myself. SPY ETF. I'll DCA it today. The blockchain ETFs. I run my own synthetic Bitcoin mining rig. BKCH up 3%. I'll DCA it today. Up nice pumpity pump on all of the blockchain stocks. Companies like Coinbase, Iron Limited. In fair disclosure, I own most of these stock shares or cryptos that I discuss. Bitmine Emergent Technologies, Applied Digital, TerraWolf, Core Scientific, Hut 8 Corporation, Riot Platforms, and Cipher Mining. Let's see how Iron Limited is doing today, getting the pumpy pump. So, Iron Limited midday is up about 3.5%. Bitminer Emergent Technologies, look at this, up huge, up nice today, up about 1.5%, 2% on the pivot. Applied Digital, and I do my research, for myself real time. It's just incredible times on the politics. TerraWolf, what's going on there? TerraWolf up huge, up about 7%. Stock symbol WULF. Core Scientific. I own all these stock shares inside of the blockchain ETF. Core Scientific up 4%. Pumping on the pumpy pump. Hut 8. Running about 40 minutes. I'm going to run longer today because I'm doing my research. 9:55 a.m. in the morning time this morning. Hut 8 was up 8%. Huge liquidity. You can hear I got a new computer. You can hear the processor fan kicking on. Got a new Intel processor. Cipher Mining. Up huge. Up 10% on Cipher Mining. So that's what we have. So I'll DCA, again, Bitcoin today, Ethereum, XRP, and Solana. The blockchain ETF, BKCH. Also Block, BLOK. Both of those ETFs are components of my synthetic Bitcoin mining rig that I invented about 7 years ago. It combines the DCA of Bitcoin plus the DCA of the ETFs, and I can mine Bitcoin anywhere on the planet as a perpetual travel or digital nomad. Ethereum, ETHE is up nice, and Solana, FSOL. So that's my trading plan for today. Peace in the Middle East, the art of the deal. That's what I have, people. Bitcoin, nice pivot. Let's see if we get a Bitcoin. If we get a breakout, I'll give some key levels here. 72,858, spot 78. If we get a breakout above that price, we should see some extraordinary price action on the breakout for Bitcoin. So just in it to win it like everyone else. The trend is, my friend, selling some more of my bags of silver on the pump. Godhead. So that's why I say every day, I give thanks for my abundant supply now manifested. I have it now. Like and share. Welcome everyone on X, Twitter, and have a super awesome, great day. I have it now.